everyone. Welcome to the Aquarian Mind podcast. Today's podcast, episode number 177. I'm your host, Jamel Crothers. It's Book Insight Friday, but I just don't feel like doing a book today. I'm sorry. But I will be delving back into Book Insight Friday in due time. Getting closer to that place and that point. But today I want to talk about how I want to change the landscape of writing. And I say this because I do not write my books in a traditional format. I write my books in a prose format. So it's very different. But I want to delve into kind of what my goals are, what I'm thinking about, and all of that. Because sometimes in life we don't realize how powerful we can be. And when we figure it out and we figure out our purpose and we go after it, you really realize like you have something special. And I didn't really know that I had, this kind of gift, to be honest. And when I started on this writing journey, I had small goals, of writing a few books and then focusing on something else. And most of the time, when I start something, I'll dedicate myself to it for a while, and then I'll move on. But this time, it was surely different. And when I talk about changing the landscape of writing, it's really from a mindset of my writing style, discussing social issues from a different perspective, and really getting people to think. And it's never about me. It's not about necessarily being right. It's more of how I look and see the world from a broader view and how I craft, create, and write stories that aren't typical to the average reader or a listener, because I do have audiobooks. My books aren't traditionally formatted, like I said, with quotes and characters speaking in a way where there are quotations. And that's where I'm different. And that's where I'm telling you guys, the readers, hey, this is another style of writing and you can do it too. And we tend to make rules with writing too much. And I noticed how readers write reviews that I don't write paragraphs. And honestly, my writing isn't for the faint of heart. And it's not necessarily for closed-minded people either. It's just my truth. And my content isn't easy to read or soak in or fully understand. And I would say a large amount of my writing early on in this process was hardcore stuff. The Struggles and Growth of a Man, that was, I think, the lightest of my early content, but the Code Blue series is hard content. The World We Live In series, that's very hard content. Kids with Guns series, that's hard content on gun control. America Under Mind Control, the standalone series, that's hardcore. America, A Country Divided, that was just a book that, really delved into where we are at the current time of where this country is. So a lot of my books were very heavy. And as time has gone on, the content's gotten a little bit lighter, living life to the fullest. That's pretty much my lightest book that I've written, and one of the more fun ones that I've written, and the fastest book that I've written to date. That was like 2 weeks literally, but that was also because I was focused, and the brainstorming session was literally 30 minutes. I kid you not. And the Woman's Worth series that I did earlier this year, as I'm recording this. Social issues, but not hardcore. Other than the domestic violence one, which is, I think, part 4 or 5. I can't remember. I've written so many books, I kind of lose track, so please excuse me. Man's Plight series, which is currently, going through its process. 3 books are out. 4th book, 5th book, and 6th book will will come, and then that will end that series, focusing on men's social issues. Hardcore stuff, hardcore, not like that. More of like the struggles for men to achieve financial success, marriage and divorce, and how it affects men mentally, spiritually, emotionally, the portrayal of men, things of that nature. Not hardcore. So a lot of my content's gotten lighter, and they're more easier to process and read, and wasn't necessarily done with intention. More of that those book series were in the works for quite some time, and it was just like, all right, it's time to delve into that. So for me, I will say that it's easier for people to see a lot of stuff on the news, emote in that moment, and then move on from it because it doesn't directly affect them. And that's where my stories and goals are to change that. And no, we can no longer sweep things under the rug and expect things to change and get better. And while social media platforms are great, sometimes it can turn bad and detrimental because we can get caught up in our pride and our egos. And, sometimes people get caught up in having tunnel vision and not thinking outside of the box. And I want people to think outside the box when it comes to expressing their thoughts and how I write my stories. And to be honest, we've come a long way with video and audio and print. And, now it's time to change things, especially, with the content that I'm writing and creating. And hopefully I start something big. And time will tell with that. But look at how much the world has changed within the past 2 decades alone. Look at how we manage with technology, and look at how we started with a computer and now we're at Android phones, iPhones. Like when cell phones first came out, we had Nokias, and they were very small handheld phones. Then we got to flip phones. Then the flip phones went away, and now the flip phones are back. So everything kind of comes back around. We used to get in yellow cabs to go places, or we had cab services. Now people are using Uber and Lyft and Via. Via's in New York City, by the way. And I only know that because I'm a former New Yorker. And we're getting in cars with strangers, and you can ride in a car and have someone take you somewhere as a cab service, which has affected the cab service industry, right? They're still managing, but the prices of the cab industry has increased. And that's not even because of what's happening right now with inflation. It's because of what Uber and Lyft have created, right? You look at people go on vacations and stay in hotels. Now people are buying homes and using those as a way to make income. And that probably helps them with their taxes. I don't know that, but now we are staying in people's homes while we're on vacation, whether we're staying in the home with the person or we're staying at a separate home or apartment that they may own, and it helps them pay their rent. No one thought that was going to ever happen, but here we are. And that affects now the hotel industry, right? So everything changes and evolves. And now we're looking at how much stores are closing down because now everyone is shopping online. It's just easier, right? So now the rent spaces of a lot of these stores are kind of fading off, right? So, now you're kind of boiling it down to BJ, Sam's Clubs, Target, Walmart, Best Buy. Those are the stores that are going to be around, I guess, for the long haul, right? But that's kind of where I'm going with my writing. I'm trying to change the landscape of things. And I have broken the rules, and I'll delve into that in the near future of how I did that too. But the point is that I want to be someone that is a pioneer in this space, and I feel that in the next few years, and I've said it out loud, but not to anyone in general. Having conversations with the man above, the creator. In 5 to 7 years, people are going to look at me and go, wait a minute, like, you're an author, you're a writer, you do blogs, you do a podcast, you have a clothing line with positive messages, and you record your own audiobooks. And it's like, yeah. And it's like, how do you do it? And it's managing my time and doing things the right way. And it's funny because not too long ago, I was on Twitter and there was someone who posted, hey, like, what platform do you use for your website? He was asking a general question to, people that are following him, and it appeared on my Twitter feed. And I said, oh, I use Jimdo, and it's a nice platform. And, I kind of shared my website, and he went on it. I guess he went on my website and kind of glanced, at it, I guess, for a moment, just see, what my website looks like, whatever. And he was like, good Lord, man. He's like, he didn't say good Lord, but he said, goodness, man. He's like, you do a lot. He's like, I hope you take Saturdays off. And I was like, oh, no. I was like, I don't take many days off. It's always about consistent growth and improving. That's what it's about for me. And I want to continue that journey. But I do take time off, just not a lot. But anyway, just wanted to delve into that today. I really hope you guys enjoyed this podcast, because this was more of a deeper podcast that I wanted to record, and it's something that I wanted to share with you guys. And I hope you guys really get a good perspective on my mind and how I go about things and how much I enjoy this grind in this process. So, if you guys are listening to my podcast, just to let you know, I do audiobooks. And if you guys are listeners and you guys want to listen to any of my audiobooks, I do have a few. The Struggles and Growth of a Man, Part 1. Code Blue and Ode to the Badge and Gun, Parts 1, 2, and 3. And I Woke Up a Black Man in audio format. I'm going to drop the link on this podcast so you guys can go onto the PayHip website directly and just see what it is. You also can click the preview and listen to a chapter of me, the narrator of it, because I'm not hiring someone else to record the work that I've put in. I'd rather you hear it from the person who wrote it himself. So just wanted to let you guys know that, if you guys did not know that, if you guys have been constant and consistent listeners of my podcast, those books, if you ever go back to those specific podcasts, you guys will see the links, and you guys will see the link to the audiobook for those books specifically. I will be working on audiobooks next year. That will be, I think, the first 5 to 6 months of my year next year. I will be working on creating more audiobooks and putting that out there, since you guys are audio listeners. So hopefully you guys will take the time to, look into those books. And they are affordable. So don't think I'm like overcharging or anything like that. I think like $2-3, give or take. So just give you guys a heads up, and it'll all download to your phone, and you can just listen to it on whatever you want to listen to it on. So just to give you guys a little heads up on that. Also, this podcast has its own website now. It's aquarianmindpodcast.com. So you guys can check that out. You guys can listen to my podcast on there. And I'm on like 15 million platforms at this point. I didn't even know I was on some of these platforms when I created my website, but hey, you learn. Anyway, I've been going on and on and on, and I am going to stop. It's not going to keep going to the break of dawn. Anyway, have a good weekend. You guys will, if you guys caught on to what I just said, you guys will know where that's from. For you young bucks who are listening, you guys don't know unless your parents introduce you to that song. All right. Have a good weekend, everyone. See you guys next week. Be good, everyone, and go accomplish your goals.